Ladies and gentlemen, We Sports Talk Live. Welcome to it. A whole lot going on in the sports world today. Different signings around the NFL. There's all kinds of news this week in the MMA. There's fights on right now. The big story today is the Washington Capitals and the Philadelphia Flyers. I get to keep the beard for another episode. Thank God. The other episode being this one. The Washington Capitals up 3-0 on the Flyers. The Flyers come back and win the next two, and it's looking like, in Washington, do they drop another 3-1 series? We get bounced out of the playoffs early again. We'll have to see. We can't be too confident. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the league, but starting to get a little sweaty down there in Washington. Today, Flyers won 2-0. One goal was a deflection off of one of Washington's Flyers' skates, and the other one was an empty netter. They were outshot 44-11, but still came up with the win. Pretty amazing. Sounds like everything's falling not the way of Washington like it typically does in the time for the playoffs. Speaking of Washington and the NFL, Josh Norman, $75 million to go play corner for the Redskins. What do you guys think about that?
It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. You know, if he can be the same corner that he was in Carolina, then he's worth every penny. But, you know, the question is, was he a system cornerback? You know, did he thrive because of the defense that they played in Carolina? Will it be the same in Washington? And Washington has been, I mean, let's be honest, a free agent pit for the most part. I mean, they're kind of like the Yankees of the NFL when it comes to signing free agents that do not work out and do not earn the money. You know, Albert Hainsworth, and I mean, you could go on and on, but we'll see. You know, I mean, it's going to help them. That's for sure. Definitely not going to hurt them. It's just, is it going to be worth that kind of money and commitment? We'll see. But, you know, that was a playoff team last year, and to add a guy like that to their defense is only going to help them. But we'll see. It's a lot of money.
Right, I do agree with you.
Monty, what do you think?
I do agree with you that even if he's not worth the $75 million, even if he's not coming back at that level that he was in Carolina, he's probably still better than what they had down there in Washington last year. The secondary was a huge liability. D'Angelo Hall is like 90 years old at this point. One thing that jumped out to me about Norman is he's 28 years old, and I saw, which was older than I thought he was. I thought he was like 24, 25, just hitting his prime, but now he's 28 years old, and I looked up the stat for other corners in the league. There's only 2 corners in the league who are over the age of 32. So this is likely the last contract for Norman, believe it or not. But yeah, I think it helps him for sure. I know a lot of people are looking to see, oh, we get to see Odell Beckham and Josh Norman 2 times a year now. Can't wait. But before you get too excited about that, let me call you back to a few years ago. Andre Johnson ripping Cortland Finnegan's helmet off, punching him in the face. It was awesome. I hated Cortland Finnegan at the time because he would get inside players' heads and do the dirty things that, you know, you think you shouldn't do. And Andre Johnson snapped on him, and it was awesome as far as I'm concerned. But as 2 players in the same division after that incident, there was never fireworks again other than Cortland making a little jab at Andre Johnson in his retirement speech, saying basically said he hits like a bitch. But that was the extent of their rivalry after the first incident.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's definitely not going to hurt them, but, you know, we'll see what happens. But I don't think I think that's going to be that division's wide open again. I don't think anybody's going to run away with it, and I certainly don't think this signing is going to make or break that team one way or the other. I mean, it's really going to still be up to Kirk Cousins and you know his growth. So we'll see what happens with the Redskins, but I'm glad the Patriots didn't sign him for that kind of money.
Nah, Belichick's not stupid at all. He wouldn't do that.
I'm happy he didn't
No.
come down to Miami. I'm not thrilled about giving out all these huge contracts that we give out, but it would have been typical Miami to bring him in. For once, Sean Dennison was for it, and of course they didn't do it because why would they ever do anything that Sean wants them to do? Um, keeping it in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles trade all the way up, give away everything that you could imagine for the #2 pick to get whatever quarterback the Rams don't want. And how well that worked out for them last time was Sam Bradford was the other quarterback that the Rams didn't want. That got shipped to Philly. So we'll see how this ends up. Everyone's pointing to Goff to be the quarterback taken by the Rams and Wentz falling to the Eagles. But there's so many smoke and mirrors at this point before the draft. I don't know how everyone can be so sure about this.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, what's going to be really interesting is already Sam Bradford has come out and said that he would welcome a pay cut to be and get out of Philadelphia. So, we'll see if that happens. I know I've heard that players say stuff like that before, and teams be like, "No, you're staying here." Um, but it will be interesting to see what happens if they do draft a quarterback that high. These days, quarterbacks drafted in the first couple picks start right away, like a Jameis Winston or
Or
Mariota.
luck.
Um, or Luck. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of examples. I'm not sure these guys, Wentz and Goff, I'm not sure if they're quite the guys that a guy like a Luck was coming out of college, or even a Winston or Mariota. I mean, they're good, but I don't think they're good as some of the quarterbacks that have been drafted one or two in the past. So um, I would be careful if I was the Eagles as to what they do. But I think teams now are thinking we need franchise quarterbacks, and they're desperate for them, and so they're doing about everything to try to acquire one. But whether they're the right choice or not is, do they draft Drew Bledsoe or do they draft Rick Meyer? That's basically what could happen.
Yeah, in this draft, there's no for sure star quarterback.
Right, and you got to remember he's going to Philadelphia. What Howie Roseman said is that Dan Bradford's our guy. I don't know if you guys have ever heard Howie Roseman speak, but he sounds like your IT support at work. I do IT, so I can make that joke. But now he comes out. Now Sam Bradford's our guy. He'll be starting for the year, but you get so much heat from the fans in Philadelphia. I'm not sure they can let Sam Bradford start for the whole season without Wentz having his name screamed every single week and all the pressure from the fans.
Look at this guy.
The first time
What's
he came
up, Keith?
in, wearing a nice police officer hat and everything.
Bless
Now he
Philadelphia.
comes in, the hoodie up, in the shadows, like he's in an alleyway.
I'm in the car.
What's up,
I'm in the
Keith?
car driving. Just got off work. I'm ready to talk some sports.
All right. You're right on time. We're talking football.
So I think it's the first ever Sports Talk Live from the car driving.
I don't think you're supposed to do that, but you would know better than me, right?
Yeah, I think I'm all right.
I'd like to say right now, sports talk driving and sports talking at the same time.
You gotta condone it.
I'm not texting, so it's all right.
All right, yeah, that's right. You're just doing a sports show.
Yeah, I was talking to these people today about the show, and I was like, yeah, I got to get on this thing. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, no, it's wicked nerdy, but whatever. And then I was like, you know what? They're probably on right now. Let's go talk to them.
Here we are.
Yeah, you brought in Bernadette and Ryan, I think were their names.
Bernadette was pretty hot too.
Yeah, she was. She was.
She's pretty hot.
Bernadette, hi. If
Okay.
if you're somehow watching this, hello. Disregard the other guy's comments.
So where were we?
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Wentz. I think he'll be on the bench. Well, I don't think he can stay on the bench, is what I should say.
Unless Philadelphia shocks everybody and takes a defensive player, like Bosa.
Keith,
Ramsey.
Keith, by the way, Benson Henderson did not win a single round tonight. He got handled.
Yeah, I'm taping it at home. I didn't get to watch it yet. I just got off work. So thanks for
So
ruining for me.
what he's saying is no spoilers.
Yeah, thanks for ruining for me.
Oh, well, it just ended, but I don't know. You'll see. I'm actually very impressed with this other guy.
It's amazing Henderson won.
It's all mind games. It's amazing he's standing, is what it is.
He got kneed in the face.
Got his ass whooped, huh?
Yeah.
Jay Martin was just texting me. Kind of already ruined the ending for me. For some reason, Jay Martin loves Russians. I was an obsession with Russians. He's a communist.
This guy's he was long. Benson could not get in on him. He couldn't shoot for him without getting stuffed.
Yeah, Koreshnikov's a very good striker, long range, and I mean, he's also the fact that he's going against Benson Henderson. Basically, is a lightweight, so I mean, he's going against an undersized guy as it is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy that Benson Henderson lost, because maybe now he can go down to lightweight, and hopefully we can get a Will Brooks fight or a Michael Chandler fight, even a Josh Thompson fight. Those would all be great fights.
Give it to Keith, man. He knows even his Bellator guys. I mean, I'm trying to catch up on UFC. He's got everything down. Full scouting. He's like John Poe is with baseball, right, John?
Yep.
John Poe is the baseball whisperer.
Oh yeah.
John Poe is everything baseball. He's the wizard.
Well, the three guys I just mentioned, Josh Thompson, he was a stable in the UFC for a very long time, especially when kind of like the dark ages of the lightweight division, when there wasn't a champion, when him and Eve Edwards and Hermes Franca and Kyle Uno and all those guys were fighting each other. But the sad thing about Josh Thompson, the thing he's probably most famous for, is getting high kicked by Eve Edwards by flying. It was like a flying Josh Thompson was like running away from it, and Eve Edwards does this like flying kick from behind, and it's one of the best knockouts you ever see. And the funniest thing, what I love about it, is Eve Edwards tells a story about the time he was at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and he was, staying low key, not really a household name, and he tells a story about guys talking about their favorite knockouts, and one guy tells the Eve Edwards stories, but he credits it to Anderson Silva. And he's the guy who did it is sitting right behind him.
At Buffalo Wild Wings.
or wherever. And then the other two guys, who did I say? Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler he's one of my favorite fighters. You won't find a boring Michael Chandler fight. And his fights, you go check out his two fights with Eddie Alvarez. They're two of the best fights you'll ever see. They're like the Gotti Ward trilogy. It's the two fights. The same night when Eddie Alvarez fought Michael Chandler, the same night was Shogun Dan Henderson won, which is a fantastic fight. I know a lot of people rank it as the greatest UFC fight ever. And the crazy thing about it, I don't think it was the best fight that night, because Michael Chandler, Eddie Alvarez won might be my favorite fight ever. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. And then the other guy I was telling you, Brooks, who I have highly ranked. I think he could come to the UFC and actually contend. I think we have him ranked on the Sports Talk rankings 7th or 8th. I rank him a lot higher than Zach does. I think Zach puts him the bottom half of 10. I put him around maybe 6 or 7. So when we average them together, he's probably about 7 or 8. So he's a fantastic. Will Brooks is the real deal. So The one thing Bellator has a lot of joke fighters, Kimbos or Ken Shamrocks. They actually have a lot of talent too that they really should. They need to use these guys. That's what their market is. They try to get Kimbo. They try to put him in a main event, or Ken Shamrock, or Quentin Jackson, and try to get the casual guys to watch them, and then put the actual talent on the co-main event and trying to build those guys. I don't know if it's really working because most people don't know who Will Brooks is, but they should because he's a fantastic fighter.
Now the only other Brooks I know of in MMA is CM Punk, and yay, so glad to have him.
Yeah.
He hasn't fought yet, right?
No,
He ain't
thank
fighting.
God.
As far as I'm concerned, he ain't fighting. No way.
Well, I'm not even gonna touch that.
He'll get his ass kicked.
That's my prediction.
Oh,
Anyway, let's get off of we'll get off of MMA for now. How about Cubs pitching? I'll just put it that way. Poe, do you want to talk about that no-hitter yesterday? Oh?
Yeah, what?
You want to talk about that no-hitter yesterday?
Yeah, that was amazing. I like Arrieta a lot. I think he's also showing people that last year wasn't a fluke at all. Which I know some people say it was.
Do you think he's the best pitcher in baseball right now?
I think he is.
agree.
It's
I
hard to
think he
argue that,
does.
right? I mean,
I think he has 19.1 innings that agree with you, John.
Yeah.
I would say this about Arrieta. Is he the best pitcher in the league right now? I'd say yes. Would he be the pitcher I would want most? I would say no. I'd want to have Kershaw. He's younger, whatever. But right now, if I
Upside.
have one game to pitch, I'm going with Arrieta.
for sure.
Yeah.
The Cubs might win the World Series because of that guy. I mean, he's going to be tough to hit in the playoffs, and I mean, you know, when they get there, he's going to be, you know, you're not going to win many games against him. So, he is solid goal.
If Jake Arrieta leads
Missouri
the
native
Cubs,
also.
if Arrieta leads the Cubs to winning the World Series, then he'll probably go down. I mean, put him number 2 in the all-time Chicago rankings. Put him number 2. Move over Walter Payton. Move over Dick Butkus. Move these guys over.
I know.
Move over Scottie Pippen. Move these guys over.
Jordan, who?
You're all about old school, man. We see every week in the Icons post.
Oh yeah, well that's why. Number one, obviously he's not moving over Bronco Nagurski, who's the number 1 icon in Chicago history.
Untouchable.
Chicago history. I don't think there's a basketball player that was a number 1 icon. I think it's Bronco Nagurski.
Another was Steve Bartman.
Oh.
Steve Bartman can come out of hiding if Arrieta leads them. But the thing about Arrieta is, and everyone always talks about 2015, you really got to go back to the end of that second half of 2014. He's been dominant since about the All-Star break then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been almost.
But it seems like he came out of nowhere.
Didn't he used to be on the Pirates?
He's been on the Orioles. He was
Orioles.
coming up on-
Orioles.
That was a
The Orioles are thinking if only we could get a guy like.
Pedro Stroop with him. Or Stroop, whatever his last name is. He's a good pitcher also. For Scott Feldman. He's down in Houston now.
Houston?
Yeah.
Houston's
Nice.
getting stomped by the Red Sox right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, inconsistent pitching's killing us.
You know, it was awesome, though. The Phillies won. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
What's the Phillies' record right now? Aren't they like pretty good right now?
They're
Yeah.
pretty not that bad
Good
right now.
damn.
I think we have 10 losses. Maybe 7 wins, 8 wins. Let me look.
I'll check.
Still got 140
That was
games
awesome,
left.
man. Love him.
I thought you'd be that 2-win
They're
team.
now
you
8
know?
and 9.
8 and 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty decent, pretty respectable at least.
World Series bound.
Well, I don't want you
Maybe
guys
not
to.
that.
I think we played the Rockies today. I think it was.
Yeah, that's E-ball's team.
Yeah, so it was cool. I mean, not winning, but it is the Rockies. Or not the Rockies, the Brewers. I'm sorry.
Keith, guess what happened tonight in the NBA?
What happened in the NBA? Celtics won.
Celtics put a whooping on them. Isaiah Thomas, 42 points.
Yeah, I saw it to the very last 40 seconds. They had this thing called the money room. I got to sit around and wait for these guys to count on their money, and I got to watch the game. And then we had to deliver the money with 42 seconds left.
What are you in the mob? Instead of you in the mob.
Nah, he's counting Josh Norman's contract.
Yeah.
Counting Josh Norman's contract.
Frankie Four Fingers money.
No, I was collecting money for Conor McGregor.
Oh God, Conor McGregor.
I was handing out flyers so he wouldn't have to.
All right, let's
Keith,
do
I
some
gotta
predictions
let
right
you
now
know,
from Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor predictions.
He's not
Does he
fighting.
fight?
I don't know what he's doing next.
My prediction is that he'll never fight a wrestler.
My prediction is that I'm getting pretty annoyed with him. I was a very big McGregor fan. I bet against him with Diaz because the odds looked good and I like money. But these tweets and statements and all this stuff, man, like I'm really not feeling it. A business phone call goes bad, so you tweet that you retired. Come on.
I think I think it's calculated, to be honest with you, and I think he thinks he's going to make other fighters more money by pulling stunts like this. And I think he is proving that he holds. What's going to happen is if he doesn't fight in UFC 200, their ratings are going to be dismal compared to if he actually did fight in it. They'll still be decent, but I mean, Conor McGregor brings fans, and he's one of those elite fighters that you just pay whatever it is that you need to pay him because he's a superstar, and he knows that. And I think there's a chess match kind of going on right now, and whether Dana White gives in or not, and if he fights in UFC 200, we'll see. Probably not, but the next time he does fight, I'm telling you what, those pay-per-view numbers are going to be huge.
Yeah.
He's no dummy.
I'll say if his fight isn't Frankie Edgar, Keith is going to love this. If his next fight isn't Frankie Edgar, I'm not watching it. I will watch the whole pay-per-view and turn it off right before that event.
Even if it's Nate Diaz?
I already saw it. Nate doesn't want to fight anyone else. I'll say that about Nate.
So this is how I feel about this whole situation, which kind of sucks because MMA has been so huge the last couple days, and my phone broke and I couldn't text or any of this crap. So I actually have two phones right now. I got a new iPhone, but it's I don't know, it's not programmed. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I'm still talking from my crappy phone. Anyways, so I think he thinks he's bigger than the UFC. I think he thinks he's bigger than the sport. I think he thinks he's already the Ali, the Michael Jordan, the Babe Ruth, and yes, Babe Ruth, not Derek freaking Jeter when we get to that. Don't even get me started on that. So I think he thinks he's bigger than the sport. And it gets to these 2 points. He puts out this big, long press release about not wanting to hand out flyers and doing a million interviews and dissing ESPN and all this stuff. And I want to say to him, like, dude, get a clue. Look at the sport you're in. We need press. That's what we – like, I say we because I'm a hardcore fan. But we're not in the top 4 sports. If ESPN wants to cover you, get your ass in there. Talk to Hannah Storm. I know she didn't know shit about your fights, but you take the pictures, you do the interview, you kiss some babies, you go on the Tonight Show, you do photo shoots and all that. Listen, if you want to be you want to. His last fight, he made some reports out he made $10 million. Supposedly, he was supposed to make $10 million this fight. He wants. Rumor is that he wanted another additional $10 million. That's what started the whole beef. Then he got into not want to do the tour, and it said, "Listen, you want to make $20 million for a fight? Well, guess what? You got to promote it. You got to get out there. The hardcore fans don't make you money. They never have. That's why the UFC doesn't make matches for the hardcore fans. Because guess what? I'm going to tune in no matter what. I've tuned into every UFC since UFC 6, I think. I mean, like, the hardcore fans are going to be watching. But you need the casual fans. You need the person who sticks on ESPN and they see Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz battling out, or they see a countdown show, or they see one of these what do they call it? The embedded shows, and they see him playing video games with some Tonight Show guy or whatever. That's how you get these casual fans to watch. They don't care what the undercard fights are. They don't care what the prelim cards. They only care about the stars, and that's what he is. So if you want to be a star, you got to promote. Which gets to my second point: is he's sitting there and he's going to say he needs to be in his camp and he needs to be working on fighting. Which obviously I agree with him. I know promoting's hard, but listen. He's making an excuse for losing the first time, saying, "Oh, my camp's always interrupted. I have to go fly out to New York for the day and take pictures." Listen, George St. Pierre did that. John Jones has been doing it. Anderson Silva has done it. All the big stars, if the Ronda Rousey have done it, all the big stars have done it. So you're nothing special. And guess what? Your opponent's doing the same thing. And you're going to sit there and you're going to say, "Oh, I lost because I didn't have a full camp because I missed time here and there." Look at his last 3 fights. Two of the guys he beat, Chad Mendez. I'm sorry, not 2 guys. 2 of the guys he fought, Chad Mendez and Nate Diaz, didn't even get a camp. So you're going to sit there and complain that you had an interrupted camp, but you're okay fighting 2 guys who didn't even get a camp. Listen, Chad Mendez kicked his ass for 2 rounds, gassed out, and all the nut huggers came out saying, "Oh, Chad Mendez, that excuse, that excuse." Now all of a sudden, Conor McGregor gets a full camp, but he, occasionally he has to fly out for a press conference that's in his contract, and we're supposed to feel bad for him, and we're going to say, "Oh, he should have won. I got to get back to going to how it was in Ireland." Well, guess what? You want to spend your camps in Ireland? Then you got to get paid like you did when you were fighting in Ireland. You got to get paid $500 and maybe some 10 tickets to your friends. If you, I've been hearing him saying I made $400 million for the UFC the last 3 UFCs that he fought in, which is all grand. And yes, Conor McGregor is good for the sport. He has elevated to even more popular heights. But think about this: when Dana White and the Fertitta brothers met Conor McGregor, they were already filthy rich. When Conor McGregor, he was not rich. So to say that he made them rich, he is absolutely wrong. They made him rich. He needs UFC a lot more than the UFC needs him. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done.
The only other thing I'll add to that, Keith, the reasoning that Conor McGregor is given for what he's doing, everything that he's doing right now, it's basically the same thing that came out of Ronda's camp after she lost to Holly Holm. That, all this press stuff, it got in her head, this and that. Ronda got kicked for it, and McGregor is getting praised for bringing it out, and I like it. It's hypocritical by
a lot of the stuff that they do, they bring it on themselves. Listen, you want to talk about? See, I said I was done, but I'm going to keep going. They said you should want to talk about. Oh, I don't want to do these press releases. It's in your contract. You signed to do that promotions. But the bigger issue is, listen, Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor. Listen, don't be making movies if you're saying you don't have time for camp. Don't be going on Saturday Night Live. Don't be making T-Mobile commercials and Gatorade commercials and all this shit.
Totally hear you on all
I
that.
can't.
I'm on
I
the.
can't disagree with that.
Damn right you can't disagree with me because I'm right. I'm right. Just like I was right about Sammy Baugh and the Washington Redskins. That's ridiculous. Darryl Green over Sammy Baugh.
Yeah, let's
What do you
get
think?
into
What do
this
you think
one.
about the list so far?
Yeah,
The icons of the game. Let's talk about that for a second.
I enjoy it.
I love it.
I thought Bruce
What
Smith
I
should
want-
have been.
Yeah, well, he was, I guess, the next guy. I mean, Jim Kelly kind of ran away with it, you know. But
No, that's-
Bruce Smith was the first guy I thought of after Jim Kelly, you know. But Jim Kelly is really kind of the icon, especially since he got sick and got cancer and got better. I mean, like it or not, I mean that kind of thing, you know, makes you more of an icon than just somebody that just had a lot of sacks. But I think the list is pretty good so far. I mean, it does show sort of, you know, I'm sure if our age group demographic was 50 plus, we'd be getting more Sammy Baughs, or you know, then you can tell that you know, our demographic is more 18 to, you know, 45 probably. Sorry, Armani, you're a exception to the rule. But you're a what do they call it? Like a blue chip prospect. What do they call the young ones?
blue chip prospects.
Yeah, that's what you are. But the hell were we talking about? Armani, you screwed me up, man.
He didn't even say anything this time.
What?
He didn't even do anything this time.
I just blame Armani for whatever I need to do because he's the young guy, and that's what you do, young guys. You get the hazing, man. So icons of the game, all right. So I think the list looks pretty good so far. What I want to know is what you guys think about the list and what teams that have already been, you know, sort of selected. Where did we go wrong? Where did Sports Talk go wrong? I know Keith is going to say a lot went wrong because he's such an old school dude. But Pecker and Armani and Poe, what do you think?
I'm gonna say Dallas was wrong. I disagree with Emmitt Smith being on there.
Yeah,
And,
same here.
I'm in Keith's side for once. For the Redskins, for me, it's got to be Sammy Baugh. He played 3 positions, and he was great at all 3 of them. It was awesome. Now, I know it a lot of times it does come down to, well, was it the best player or is it the most iconic? What's your definition of iconic? This, that, and the third. Iconic is Sammy Baugh, man. You got a bust. That's the one that bothers me most, probably, is Sammy.
Redskins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Darryl Green, but
No, you can't go wrong. You
Nah,
absolutely,
I love Darryl Green. I love Darryl Green. If
no,
I
you
had,
absolutely did go wrong.
it should have been Baugh. You think it should have been Baugh?
Oh, it should. That's a no-brainer. To me, that's a no. See, the only one that I had a major issue. No, I don't remember everyone who got voted. I don't remember the whole list. I think I have a hard time. I always vote for the best player. Not always, but I tend to vote for the best, who I think was the best player in the team. That's one problem. But my thing is, you look at the accomplishments of Sammy Baugh in the 1920s. Sorry, 1920s, 1940s, 1950s. This guy, you could actually make an argument that he's the greatest quarterback ever. If Tom Brady didn't exist, of course. And you're gonna say Darryl Green? If we ranked cornerbacks in the top 10, I know he played a little safety too. I mean, I know he played both positions. Would he rank even in the top 10 in either position? I mean, when I think about this, is I'm 34 years old. Sammy Baugh was dead before I was alive. Okay, I don't know what time it might be, but we're talking about this guy 60 years after he retired, 70 years after he retired. You think people are going to talk about Darryl Green 70 years after you retire. Walk into high school right now and ask an 18-year-old kid who Darryl Green is. Darryl Green retired like 15 years ago.
That's a great point, Keith.
You
Yeah,
a guy like
that'd be boys.
I mean, Darryl Green still does run a 4.5 40.
Yeah.
if you take a cornerback like Emlyn Tunnell, who's just as good as Darryl Green. He retired in I think in 70s, early 70s. Who the hell remembers him? Who talks about him? Nobody.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Exactly. But you know who Sammy Baugh is? It goes down to like this. It goes. This is.
Armani, stop clicking on things.
I'm sorry.
Armani sounds like he's typing on like a 50s style typewriter, like he's typing a war letter.
It could be.
It's gonna be like when you do baseball and you ask who's the most iconic Detroit Tiger, and someone says Alan Trammell or Cecil Fielder. Come on.
Okay, line. Come on.
Justin Verlander.
Justin Upton.
Cabrera.
David Price.
I mean,
Olivia Newton-John.
I understand that it always happens, and it's probably just for some reason I love the old time players. I love the pre-Super Bowl. I don't know what it is. It's my thing. I love reading about Otto and Sammy Bond. I mean, freaking, I have a man crush on Jim Thorpe. I just like reading about these guys, Marion Motley, guys like this. I don't think someone's gonna pull up Wikipedia or whatever it is 70 years from now and read about Darryl Green.
Right, but I'll say this. I mean, the average sports talk not know. You're obviously kind of well read on the history of the NFL, and you've read up on guys that you never once saw take a nap and make a run or whatever. But you think you know about them because you read about them. But a lot of people don't necessarily that deep into NFL history. They just kind of go by what they have heard, what they've seen. I go back to maybe the 70s. I was born in the 70s. I didn't see too much NFL football in the 70s, but you hear some stuff, and you're an NFL fan, so you're kind of a student of the game, and you hear about the guys that were maybe a generation before you, but not 2 or 3 generations before that, typically. So you can't really fault sports talk for choosing more familiar and more name recognition than some of the guys that you're speaking of.
I just think about this. If we're all old, we're right in our 70s, and someone says, "Oh, who's the biggest icon in 49ers history?" and the people take whichever great 49er player is going on at that time. What do we all be like? Are you kidding me? What about Joe Montana? Or if they did it with the Patriots, like Sammy Baugh is.
It'll always
the Joe
be Tom Brady.
Sammy Baugh is the Tom Brady of his era. He is the Joe Montana of his era.
And you know what? I'm a huge football NFL fan. I really am, but I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know how good Sammy Baugh is. I don't go that far back with my NFL history. And I think I know quite a lot about NFL, but I recognize the name of Darryl Green more, and guys like Art Monk, and some of these other guys that they were talking about in that thread, but. I totally understand the old school choices and the fans that understand those players then, but I don't think the average sports talk member is one of those people. So, I think the list so far has been pretty good. I mean, what do you guys think about most recently Reggie White getting the Eagles gig? It's surprising how few actual icons the Eagles have had, if I'm being honest. Like guys that have really played like their entire career there, that are like, you know what I mean? Like even Reggie White.
Yeah.
People were voting for him, but I mean he spent the better part of his career in Green Bay and other places. You know, he got it, even though he still played in other places. He's the icon of the Eagles, even though he went off to Green Bay. And I don't know. What do you guys think
You know,
about that pick?
like living here, I was kind of surprised how I had to really stop and think and dig. Like it wasn't just obvious, like, oh yeah, this guy definitely. It wasn't really like that. I had to, think about it for a while. And like you said, the list was shorter than you would think it would be.
And they wonder why they haven't won a Super Bowl.
Right?
Yeah.
But with that one, with the current age of the fan base in Philly, if you were to ask most of their people filling the stadium right now, if that question went out to them, I think it would have went to Brian Dawkins, to be honest with you. That's the guy everybody watched. I'm saying just the people going to the stadium. Not the guys that have been season ticket holders since '57 or them hardcore guys. I'm saying like your most common casual fan that goes in would probably tell you Brian Dawkins.
Well, when you walk into the stadium, would you see more Brian Dawkins jerseys or Donovan McNabb jerseys?
Dawkins.
That actually surprises me. I wouldn't have guessed that.
But you got to remember, no matter who's quarterback in Philadelphia, he's hated. Right? it
Never
doesn't.
good enough.
Yeah, you
That's true.
ask somebody from around here the scouting report for Donovan McNabb, and he throw at guys' feet too often, But that's why his turnovers were so low. I mean, you have to kind of appreciate that sometimes, He's not turning the ball over. Yeah, they ended at his feet, but the defender didn't get it. But I digress.
Philly.
Next person can go.
My thing with Philly, to me it was between three guys. It was Reggie White, Chuck Bednarik, and Steve Van Buren. And my one issue with Reggie White is what you already said. I thought Reggie White's best years were in Philly, even though he was fantastic with Green Bay too. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. But Chuck, he played like he played 15 years, 18 years, something like that, with the Eagles. He got like 10. I'm just making up numbers off the top of my head. He had like 10 All-Pros. Kind of was the face of the Eagles for a very long time. And then Van Buren, obviously, is one of the greatest running backs of all time from the pre-Super Bowl era. I definitely really didn't expect him. I thought he'd finish third. I was really surprised that how popular Dawkins is, maybe because I'm not from Philly. I understand why he's popular, because he has that tough guy attitude that Philly likes. So I can kind of understand why Dawkins was so popular.
I know you probably can't say it, Keith. You're driving at the
I
moment,
don't
but
see how he top 15 player of all time, probably maybe top 10.
yeah.
Arguably the greatest defensive end ever, at least in the conversation. And Dawkins, I mean, obviously, I think he probably gets in the Hall of Fame. But you compare him to slam dunk guys. Who won? You said Reggie White?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got no
Reggie
issue.
White won.
Yeah, he's more deserving. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he got top 15 player, top 20 player, top 10, whatever. I mean, he's one of the greatest players of all time. But I definitely think him leaving Philly, obviously.
Well,
Bednarik gave him a ride, though. I mean, he was a lot of votes.
Well, he deserved. I mean, I voted for him, but I tend to lean towards the older guy just because
Shoot, I voted for Vince Papel.
it's
because that's what they
weird.
put on Disney.
Sometimes I'll read the
First,
comments.
what you voted for.
He's still iconic. It's Mark Wahlberg.
That is true. He's from Boston. I agree with you, Armani. I love Mark Wahlberg.
Not even an Eagles fan, but I gotta hold it up.
Oh, look at that.
We love Dawkins. What's that?
Is that who you voted for? Did you vote for Dawkins in the thread?
No, I voted for Reggie White.
That's hilarious, actually. So, all right, there's a couple other ones that I want to talk about that, it could have gone a couple different ways. The Steelers. What do you think about Mean Joe Green actually getting that one instead of Bradshaw or some of these other guys that were voted for? They have a rich history, so it could have gone to a few guys.
I liked it. I was all about Mean Joe getting it. I think back to the commercial, and every time I'd have a Coke.
Hey, Palomalu.
Every time you have a Coke, you think of him?
Yeah, every single time.
Every time he does Coke, that's what he says.
No, that's John Jones.
That's Jones.
Or Johnny Manziel.
Mean Joe Green.
Or anybody named John or Joe or Jason, apparently.
All right. So
one old guy came through, and that's Kenny Stabler.
The reason why
I thought you were talking about Joe.
The reason why they won those Super Bowls is because of how loaded that defense was. And Mean Joe Green was the best player in that defense. So.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely deserved to get it. I think that would have been my vote, and I'm not sure if I've even been voting. I don't think I have myself been voting. I've just been counting other people's votes. But if I was gonna vote, I would say it would probably be me and Joe Green. Although it's hard to say it's not Bradshaw because you see Bradshaw now all the time, because he's on the Fox, show,
Yeah.
and so he's in your face all the time, and so he is iconic. You know what I mean? And he did win all those Super Bowls, chances or not, which it was. He was definitely an icon. So it could have gone either way, but I can't argue with Mean Joe Green. But Kenny Stabler, getting it for the Raiders actually kind of surprised me, to be honest with you. I didn't think a lot of our younger members know who Kenny Stabler was. But that just shows you how many smart, educated sort of football fans we do have in there, because I think he's the right choice.
I don't know if you thought Bo Jackson was going to win, but I agree with Ken Stabler.
Yeah, Bo. I don't think Bo played long enough to really be the biggest icon.
Or we could say Howie Long.
So the one I'm going to say.
Go ahead, Keith.
Well, how long is not even the best player in that defense? On the Raiders defense. All right, so the one that I was really surprised, and I mean not surprised, but I thought it should have been a lot closer, was the Chicago Bears. I think Walter Payton won in an absolute landslide, and I understand he put in the 80 sweetness.
Is Keith fading out?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time.
Any guy who's 6 years old, Dick Butkus is the scariest player, arguably the scariest player in the history of the NFL. And
I think we're losing Keith.
But what I'm really gonna make, I actually didn't vote for this, but I actually think the most now this really to me goes down to how you define the question, because I try to look at how they were for their era, like how iconic they were in their time, and not how iconic they are now. Because obviously, the older you get, the less popular you're going to be. That's just what happens. I mean, you mentioned a guy like Jimmy Fox. Most people won't know today when he was one of the greatest players who ever lived. So My argument is I actually think Red Grange should have won for Chicago Bears, and I'll tell you why. I think Red Grange might be the biggest icon in the history of football. If you take him for the time he played, he was so popular they actually wrote songs on the radio about him and actually made movies about him. Like, he was that popular.
You know what's funny is how few people even wrote his name down.
The sad thing is, I didn't even vote, and I didn't even think about it. I'm 34 years old. I thought of the Chicago Bears. I voted the band.
I thought Dick Butkus.
And then when I started thinking about it,
Cheese Connections
football
killing me.
history.
No,
All right,
I'm
let's
surprised
go.
any votes in
Go
that
ahead,
one.
go ahead.
Surprised Brian Piccolo didn't get any votes. I mean, not iconic for your typical reasons, but I mean, I don't know anybody who can watch that movie without crying.
The other one that kind of caused a stir was the Packers. Brett Favre
Well, too bad we
Ended
don't
up
have
winning.
Jay for this.
ended up winning that one. And you know, a lot of the old school, even the Packers fans, a couple of them were a little bit perturbed that it didn't go to Bart Starr. You know, I thought it should have gone to Mark Chimura, but it didn't. It ended up being Brett Favre. Do you think Favre is the most iconic Packer of all time, or do you think Packers? You think immediately Bart Starr?
I think for my generation, it's what's his name, Brett Favre.
What's his name?
Yeah.
It's
I
Brett
was
Favre,
thinking that.
probably. Or you get no, he was only there for like 2 years. Never mind. I was gonna say Charles Woodson.
The only thing that bothers me about Favre is he went out and played for a division rival and had arguably the best year of his career for a division rival, and that stings. I mean, I feel like that probably has something to do with why a lot of the hardcore Packers fans that we have in the group had some kind of feelings about that. I'll tell you what is iconic though, that picture you sent. We can ask Jen Sturger. She thinks she thinks it was well, you know, his icon.
No, we don't know. Peck, tell us.
He's thinking about it. He's thinking of an age-appropriate word.
Well, no, that's the reporter he sent the infamous dick pic to. Very iconic moment. And
Yeah. Moving on. So, you know, it's been pretty interesting so far with the icons of the game. You know, tomorrow I've got tomorrow's all picked out. The only thing I'm going to say about tomorrow's is it's something that it's definitely something that we haven't had before in icons of the game. So it's going to be interesting.
it's they're saying it's like a tale of two cities.
Yeah, you could go ahead and spoil it like that, but no, it's the first time that we've had a team that has been in multiple cities. No, I guess we had Oakland, right? And they were in LA and Oakland. It's somewhat similar to that. So we'll just say that and leave it at that. It came from a person that recommended a team. And if you guys want a team, go ahead and message me and let me know, you know, what team that we haven't done yet that you're looking forward to seeing. You know, I've gotten a few people asking me why I haven't done the Patriots yet. Don't you guys? That'll be the quickest vote of all time, and I honestly think if I did it tomorrow, if I did the Pats tomorrow, it would be the first player as the most iconic player of all time in a franchise. I can't think of another Patriots player that has ever been as big as Tom Brady is right now,
Ty Law.
or will ever be in the history of mankind. will there ever be a quarterback that graces the NFL or any football field for that matter as great as Tom Brady, the GOAT?
Are you
So
done?
that's why I haven't done the
I
Pats
tuned
yet.
out when you said Patriots. Are you done?
Yeah, you get me going. Armani's gonna type something about it.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
Type we sports talk every freaking word we say.
He's our what's that, stenographer? Is that what it is at a courtroom that types everything?
Yeah, that sounds right. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible job. Destroy your hands.
So I'm looking forward to tomorrow's, and today is actually, let's real quick, the Buccaneers today. And when I do these, I usually pick a team that I can at least think of a couple of guys that it would be make a good debate. And I thought of a couple guys right away with the Buccaneers, but it surprised me there's as many Buccaneers that were could have been considered. There's Sapp. There's Derek Brooks. There's a lot of votes for Mike Allstott.
Rondé Barber.
Rondé Barber is another one. So and it's been pretty close to votes. I'm pretty sure I know who is in the lead right now, but it is pretty close right now. There's still another 17 minutes to vote on the Buccaneers of the game. So we'll see what happens there, and go for it tomorrow.
No, as soon as you posted that thread, it took off very quickly. I think we had comments from, what was it? The first half hour, we had comments from like 40 members. It was pretty insane how quickly that one got some votes in. So whatever time of day it was that you posted that, I think it was sometime around noon. That might be a good time to get these up and get a lot of activity on them.
Yeah, I've been, based on my schedule from the time that I started these, to kind of get them up around 11. It hasn't been too much later than 11. I try to get them up between 10 and 11 if I can. It's kind of one of the first things I do when I'm drinking my coffee in the morning.
Yeah, I
To
wake up
be honest.
the game is up.
Yeah. So I like to get it up because whatever time I'm putting it on, it takes about 20 minutes, and then boom, all of a sudden, lots of people are voting. So I'm stoked that it's caught on. It's I like the fact that there's daily stuff to look forward to on the site. I think we should do more of that, to be honest with you. If you've got any suggestions or other types of sort of segments or series like the icons of the game, I think the more daily things that we do, the better. Are you okay over there, buddy? Oh, okay. Did you fart?
Maybe. So far,
It was probably Poe. We all know about Poe and his friggin' gas issues.
a green tea goes right through them, man.
Anyway, yeah, the icons of the game, we're gonna do baseball after, thanks to Keith's recommendation. I didn't even consider doing that, but he said, "Hey, why the hell aren't you gonna do baseball?" And I think that'll do just as well. I'm considering doing all the sports, to be honest with you. We'll see what happens. I don't know what kind of reaction we'll get from hockey, but I know a few fans will chime in for that for sure.
I think for most teams, I think we'll get a pretty big turnout for that. I mean, not to the level that NFL is, but we'll get a pretty big turnout for most teams. I can see a couple teams maybe not too many guys know about, but I think we'll do all right with hockey.
I mean, if you
do you think baseball is going to be? Do you think baseball will be too obvious?
Nah, not for some teams.
I don't think so.
Because baseball's history has been for like 100 years, so.
Hey, that's true.
I know, but I feel like.
Yeah, you have people from the 20s being like
some
teams.
Some of the teams I think you can't even argue. I don't think you can argue the Yankees. I don't think you could argue the Red Sox. I don't think you could argue the Royals.
Rangers,
I
you
don't
can't
think you could
argue.
argue
Pirates.
Pirates.
That's
Clemente,
cool.
right? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Tigers.
Yeah.
Tigers with K-line. I may have to break it up into sort of.
Ty Cobb.
I may have to take the old timers out. You know what I mean, and do it from a certain time period to make it more interesting
You can do
and more
top 10 of the
debatable.
era. Like, you can go from the beginning of baseball to now.
I don't think a top 10 would be good.
Or top five. There you go.
Maybe a top 3.
Like,
We
start from
did a
like,
Mount Rushmore type deal not too long ago, maybe a year ago,
I
and it
remember
was
that.
similar to that. Um, but I want to definitely do this with the baseball and stuff, but I want to do it right, and I don't want it to be obvious. The best part of these football ones is there's 8 because there are good choices for a lot of these teams, and that's what makes it great. So that's the key right there.
I mentioned other games we can do daily. I fell off with it, but I was doing I guess that player kind of thing. Put a picture
I
up,
like that.
maybe 2 or
Yeah.
3 clues about the guy, and have people
Mhm.
message me. Thing with it though is it gets tricky because you can't have them comment the name in the comment section because it gives it away for everyone else. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do it better, and also it's tough to find one that's not too hard or not too easy. That in that sweet area in the middle. Jamie had wanted to kill me when I did the one of Kevin Curtis and Drew Bennett, both wearing the same jersey number for the Rams.
Yeah, you could put up 2 players and say, name the 2 players, and it would be a little more challenging than the 1 player. But you definitely want to get it so that there's sometimes kind of the idea. But so if you kind of tell them they can't interact, it's kind of like
Exactly.
they don't know what to do.
Right, I gotta find another way to work something like that. I was requesting for him to message me. One, that's a lot of messages, dude. The first one I did, my phone blew up. Other than that, not everybody reads that, and they just put the comment in there. Okay, game over. That was fun. Lasted 4 minutes.
Keith, I got an idea for your MMA, man. It'd be really cool daily is like a fight of the day where you can find awesome fights on YouTube, man, and just kind of post and probably every good fight that's ever been fought. And it doesn't necessarily have to be at fight of the day. You could do it weekly,
Yeah,
but do it on the same day. Because it only takes some of these fights 90 seconds. You know what I mean? I mean, some of them are they're 5 3-minute rounds, but some of these are palatable to people that can just kind of sit there with their phone and watch.
I actually like that idea. I was probably thinking do it weekly, like on say every Thursday. One thing I was thinking about doing, it's good that we brought this up because I want to ask you guys. Do you think guys like I know a lot of guys would write like an article, and do you think guys read that? Like I know Beach just did a one for the Celtics. I know that one of the guys does it for the Dolphins. Like more of an educational type read.
Definitely. I mean, here's the deal. Like we don't let just any jamoke come into Sports Talk and start dropping his blog in there and promoting it, trying to get people to click on it. But when we're talking about members that are quality members, have been here a long time, you guys contribute. I mean, hell yeah, if they've got something that they want to promote, or they're doing a blog or something, if they're guys that are actual members of Sports Talk, then we have no problem with them sort of dropping their link and saying, hey, read my stuff. Posky, yeah, Posky drops his blog, right?
Yep.
One thing I was thinking about doing, kind kind of as a promotion for UFC 200 was doing like a 10-day countdown to UFC 200 and doing my top 10 UFC fighters of all time, not top 10 MMA fighters, and only counting what was accomplished in the UFC and doing like from 10 days out, go from number 10, go right up, explain who the person was, what they accomplished, blah, 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 and then do that, then number 9, then number 8, then number 7.
I love it. And you know what? Are you going to do all weight classes? Like you're just going to choose the 10 best in all
Yeah.
classes?
Yeah, I mean, some of those guys will be obviously choices, John Jones, Anderson Silva, guys like that, Randy Couture, and just do that. I mean, I thought about doing top 10. I thought, wow, maybe to make it more interesting, I could do it for 20 days out, 20, 200 kind of thing.
You know what would be a cool cool daily post also would be like if you broke it up into weight classes and every day you did like you started with like number 10 and like you put the number 10 guy that you thought, and then the next day you did number 9, you picked him at number 9, and then you kind of get people wondering what your number 7's going to be the next day, and it kind of feeds on kind of what's making icons of the game kind of work, and it's curiosity as to who's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that for the 10 days before UFC 200. Another thing I talked about, I think it was last week or the week before, what I was thinking about doing is when there's a week, because I do my instant reaction to all the UFCs. So when there's like a little break in UFC and there's like nothing really covering, I was thinking about doing my doing a divisional breakdown where I grab a division and I just break down the division and like, hey, because I know that everyone understands who's in what division. Well, be like, hey, here's the champion. This is what he's good at. Blah blah. Here's the number 1 threat. Here's the next top contenders. Here's guys that are upcoming prospects you should watch. Here's guys that are kind of past their prime. Here's the gatekeepers, and here's like the best guy outside the UFC. And then it's just
that's good information.
And it'd be like a whole thing of the whole division. Obviously I can't cover every guy, but it would cover the major players.
Yeah, but what you could do for us, which I would appreciate as a casual fan, is sort of education on who should I be following, who should I be looking for, what fight should I be really watching, what are the blue chip prospects that could be the next big thing. What are the big fights coming up? I mean, like, I'm a casual fan and I like watching UFC, but I always work on Saturday nights, man. That's just my business. So I never get to see the good fights that often.
You guys got to get the UFCs at the bar.
Nah, dude, we don't want that crowd in there, man.
What? UFC crowd's the best crowd.
No, not in Fort Myers, Florida. It's not.
No way.
In sports talk, we're the most peaceful game threads. I mean, you call it a fight thread, I guess, but I think we're the most peaceful group in there.
It's true, man. But I've done. Let me. Go ahead.
Make your case.
Me?
Yeah.
I know. I'm saying I have worked in sports bars for a long time, and UFC nights. First of all, they're super expensive. They cost the bar like $2,500 just to get. And then you need to hope that you make that money back on beer, and half the people that walk in there are just there because the fight is on, and they're not even drinking, man. They're just sitting there chilling, watching the game or the fight for free. And then that have never friggin' seen a mat or a gym in their life that walk in with tap-out T-shirts, and they want to friggin' shoulder into guys and just pick fights and be stupid and act all testosterone-y. And it's more of a hassle than it's worth, man. I got to be honest with you.
So I go to not every time, but I go to Buffalo Wild Wings a lot for the fights, and pretty much what you say is 25. I don't know how much Buffalo Wild Wings is, but you're talking about standing room only. Well, when Ronda Rousey fights, when Conor McGregor fights, when John Jones fights, like you obviously have your major players when they fight. It's sold out, and even the guys who aren't majors, your Chris Weidman versus Luke Rockhold, it's still a packed house. You might be able to I won't be standing room only, but I get there for like 7:30. The fight doesn't start till 10 just to get a seat. And I've been there. I've probably done it close to 100 times, and I've never seen one fight.
You know what? You know what I could do? You just sparked an idea in my head, Keith. I don't know what it is about you, man, but you spark ideas in my head. So whatever it is, keep doing what you're doing.
It's the
But
accent.
yeah, maybe it's like it's like talking to my boys back home. What I could do is, for big fights, I could sell seats, to people that, are willing to pay to sit there and watch the fight, and just not allow the jamokes in there, and make my money on selling seats and the food and drink, being in there, almost like I did for the Super Bowl. But I don't want 300 people in there, man, and half of them aren't doing anything except watching your TVs.
Well, see, some places, not Buffalo Wild Wings, but like a lot of places, they have a cover you have to pay. Usually it's only like $5.
Mm-hmm.
Also, some places have a I don't know what it's called, like you have to spend this much money on a bill. So say you have to pay, you have to pay at least like $10. So if someone two teenagers go in and they buy Cokes, yeah, that's fine. You can buy 2 Cokes. It's still going to cost you $20.
Every time you talk, I feel like I'm watching the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking for a charger. I was down to 5%, so I had to plug in.
Oh. You're always walking around like you're running away from something you can't see.
Yeah, my wife always makes fun of me that I'm always walking around when I talk. I pace.
I feel like you're taking us on an adventure.
I'm nervous talking to 2 admins and the young blue chip and John Poe, the oracle of sports knowledge.
He is the oracle.
I like the oracle. That might be the new nickname. I like that.
We should all have the Matrix names. He's the oracle. Maybe Armani's the one. I don't know. What do you think?
He's the chosen.
Who's Lawrence Fishburne?
He's a young Anakin.
The one that doesn't go bad.
He's Anakin in the first. What's the first Star Wars movie?
Phantom Menace.
Yeah, he's the Phantom Menace.
He's Christian Haydenson.
Yeah, he's like the little.
Or
kid
he's Jar Jar Binks.
Oh hell no!
No, he's a little kid riding the racer thing.
That's Burger, freaking Jar Jar Binks.
A little 8-year-old.
Now that's what I call racing. What is he saying that? That's what I call Padre. I don't remember his quote, but now I'm picturing Armani with goggles on and. Never mind.
Hold up.
His mom's listening. I'm not picturing your 15-year-old son. I promise.
I'm not picturing him doing anything.
Anyway.
Hey, if you want a fight to watch tomorrow for just a casual fan, I'm really surprised no one's talking about it. Well, you got obviously you got John Jones, the main event, versus Obed St. Preux. John Jones sells no matter who he fights. A fantastic fight is Demetrius Johnson, who I think is probably the best fighter in the world. He's fighting Henry Cejudo, probably his greatest threat yet. Olympic gold medalist, wrestler, Golden Glove boxer, undefeated. Probably, it's really sad because it's a flyweight title fight. It's probably the best title fight. So that's a fight. But also the third main event is former champion Anthony Pettis versus Edson Barboza. They're both coming off a loss. Barboza lost to Tony Ferguson, but a lot of people forget is he was really beating the shit out of Tony Ferguson before Ferguson caught him in the choke. So Edson Barboza is a fantastic striker. He's got great. He uses his kicks. He's got probably the best kicks in MMA, or at least one of them, and he has a very solid straight right down the pipe. His big negative is he's so offense that he doesn't have a very good defense, and he actually has a pretty weak chin. Like Donald Cerrone he was kicking Donald Cerrone's ass before Cerrone caught him with a big shot. And Anthony Pettis, he's lost 2 fights in a row. He's lost really badly. Bill Dos Anjos, and he looked like shit against Eddie Alvarez. So it's a fight that I know a lot of people rumored that thinking that with the new Asada testing, a lot of people think Anthony Pettis might have been on steroids because he has not looked like the same fighter. So it's a very interesting fight. It's stylistically really good fight. I think a lot of people are counting out Barboza. I'm not making that my official pick, but that's a pretty good fight. And then you know what? I'm gonna stop. There's a lot of good. I'm gonna stop.
No, I'm actually glad you said you're not going to make your pick because I got to get the link up for the fantasy, and
Yeah, I
still
don't want these
gotta
guys
do
copying me. Oh,
I gotta
so
make-
I looked at it. They do it by periods, and I thought we could go to UFC 100, but it actually ends after this event, and then it's a new period. So we can kind of invite people back in. It's actually, if you want to become an MMA fan, I've noticed that guys who've been jumping in the DraftKings and jumping in the fantasy league, you automatically become a hardcore fan because you're playing and you're competitive and you want to see your guys fight. So you're watching like undercard fights. You remember who won you money. You remember who let you down, and it keeps you remembering guys' names. And you're watching prelim fights and undercard fights and pre-pass fights. I remember when I first got on Sport Talk and jumped in the links and it was me and the guy Simon and Zach talking prelims fights, and now everybody's talking. You know, guys are talking about the first fight on Fight Pass. So if you're looking to become a bigger fan, one of the fantasy leagues, especially the fantasy league because it's free.
Yeah, definitely. Going through now, making some DraftKings picks. Top secret.
Take St. Preux.
DraftKings kicked my ass in football season. Made me question my ability.
I don't know who this guy is, but he's my last guy. He's in my lineup. You go.
Who'd you pick?
Don't worry about it.
I don't know. Just tell me who the last guy was.
The last guy, he's fighting Vic. He's my cheap guy.
Oh yeah. Good luck with that. He's a I can't think of. I honestly can't. You got me stumped. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
He's averaging 72.5 fantasy points per game.
James Vick is a boxer style, very long, very tall for the weight class. Boxer, kind of in a. He showed flashes of being a talented fighter, but never seemed to put it together. Yeah, good luck.
I gotta feel a little better about it. Never put it together. That's what I like to hear.
I'll see my profile pic on here.
Yeah, who's your profile pic? Yeah, who's the guy wearing number 2?
Oh, it hadn't changed yet?
No.
No, I see a little kid and a guy wearing a jersey number 2.
Let's do a thing. Let's predict what it's going to be. I predict Crying Jordan will be in his picture at some point, some way, shape, or form.
I think it's the.
Where the hell is he?
I think it's the Conor McGregor. Dana White flying on top Conor McGregor.
No, it was I changed it to young Anakin Skywalker.
Oh.
Get ready to pod race.
Hey, Armani, who's the kid? Who's the kid wearing the jersey in the video in your picture?
I think that's Armani, and the kid is like some other kid.
That's my brother.
Oh, I thought Armani was a little kid.
Nah, that's the little one's my brother.
Yeah, I didn't think
You
you
like
would,
the smaller.
I was just making a joke. Hey, where's speaking of jokes, where's Jay Gibbs?
Where is Jay?
He lost a fight with his daughter. That's where Jay is.
His team got eliminated, huh?
I think maybe because he's out of the beard challenge. Maybe he didn't want to show his face. That's my conspiracy theory.
He had to shave it again.
Yeah.
Tell Jay just because his team's eliminated, there's plenty of room on the Florida Panthers bandwagon. Just make sure it's not a Black Panther. Don't screw that up when you jump on the Make sure you pick the right one.
Yeah, I gotta say, Kurt Smith, awesome idea with the beard challenge because I am so much more involved with every single game now. We're down 3-0 in the series, and I'm like,
You're
Wednesday
in
was the next.
deep.
I was like, I have to shave on Wednesday. This sucks.
Yeah, on the group in the group chat, he was like, "Oh, I gotta shave," and now he's like, "Oh, I got a chance."
I have hope.
Yeah,
When your team gets eliminated, you gotta shave your beard,
Yeah.
and whoever's team's left got to keep their beard.
Only the team. It's terrible odds. I don't know why any of us took this bet. It's the dumbest bet in the world for you to
You're
win.
just like Keith when you shave.
It's like betting the NFL playoffs.
Look, I got the Florida Panthers. Look at that beard.
Look at that. I mean, that's the man that has to shave every day.
I mean, we got like the same shaped head, I think. I might look a little bit like Keith after I shave.
There was no way I was putting my beard on a friggin' hockey team. No way.
Dude, and if they don't win the Stanley Cup, you lose. Like it's the worst odds in the world.
Yeah. Why
But
would
so
anybody
many-
do that?
So many people jumped in on it. It was awesome. I think it was more the fact that a few people got in on it, and everyone else was like, "Oh, well, shit. If I don't do it, they're gonna call names."
How many people are gonna go through? We need to come up with a punishment for those who said they were going to do it and then don't follow through. There needs to be some kind of like flogging or something.
We'll just start another hashtag. We'll just do a hashtag for that member. Something.
Guy is
something,
ducking.
The guy is ducking took off.
Yeah,
Me and
what's the
Zig
guy?
are still sending them back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah, you can go see check any thread. Somebody's probably gonna say it.
Guy is ducking is now trending worldwide.
Yeah, you know what I want to do with that? I might do it after the cast is over. I'll have anything to do tomorrow. I might go through the different guys ducking things and make like a huge poll with all of them in there and just have people vote. What was the best guys ducking?
Guy is that would be awesome.
The guy is ducking. I don't know what that is. I know that you guys making fun of Guy, but what's the where did it come from?
Because he wouldn't put his beard on the line for the beard challenge.
Oh,
Everybody was tagging him and he wouldn't even respond.
he was ducking. He was the one that I threw out there like right away was guys ducking like Conor McGregor ducked Frankie Edgar. One of the first ones I put out there. I tagged you in it.
oh, you said. I get tagged every single MMA post someone tags me. The best
Guy
is
is
when
ducking like he dropped the soap.
the best is when Deck tags me on the news story that's broke like 3 days earlier. Hey, Keith, did you see John Jones got suspended? You see he got stripped of his title? Like yeah, like a year ago.
I'll give him credit though. Like you guys
He's
are
right.
crazy fast with these stories, and you get them out there right away. And yours is just like kind of a post. That has like a whole article when he posted those. So there is a little bit more information when he does it. But now the other day he was like, "Hey, did you guys see Conor McGregor retired?" And I was like, "Dude, I beat everyone on that one somehow."
I get mad when someone beats me. I try to get it out as soon as I read news. I gotta like jump on there and try to beat everyone.
Yeah, yesterday.
The McGregor one,
Somebody,
when I saw it, the tweet was already up for a half hour. I was like, "Oh, somebody's definitely going to it first." And I scrolled through. I was like, "Oh no, it's not on there."
Yeah, Deck didn't know Prince died till like 5 o'clock yesterday.
I think
Yeah,
Justin.
Yeah, we were all
I think
talking about something else. He was
admin,
like, "Wait, Prince
he
died?"
deleted
We're like, "Yeah, it's been like 6 hours."
Yeah, Derek was late to the party that Prince passed away too.
Him and E-Ball.
What were you saying? What were you saying, Keith?
I think you if it was broke a half hour, it was already on there. You just deleted the other person's to get credit. You're admin. You can delete it.
I actually had to delete a couple of them. I mean, the blatant ones that were just like, "Hey, sports talk, Prince is dead." Like, all right, we'll let one of those fly. You know what I mean? But when you get 2 or 3 of those, it's like, we get it. Delete. No offense to anybody, but we don't need to turn into TMZ.
Yeah, dude,
John Parker.
I'm definitely doing this. This guy's ducking thing. It's going to be awesome.
Speaking of ducking,
I want to see that.
I'll tag you in it.
Tag me in
so
it too.
speaking of ducking, we had fight training today at work, and so speaking of ducking, both John McKay and Brian Williams both did not partner with me with all that trash talk.
They post
No, it
out.
was awesome today. Brian Williams just opening the door, letting everyone know that your phone wasn't working. Get in everything you can because he cannot respond right now.
Yeah. I told him my phone wasn't working. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Like the biggest news of like MMA in the last like 6 months came out, and I can't respond because my phone doesn't work. So I bought a new phone today. I bought an iPhone, but I haven't got it programmed around. I don't really know how to use it yet.
All right, so Keith won't be on the show next week because he's not going to have any clue how to get in here on his new phone. So we'll have to give him another week.
Yeah, I tried doing that with my phone. I tried switching over and I couldn't figure it out. I tried doing it. I just logged out a little while ago. Tried switching to the other phone and it wasn't working.
Just hand it to one of the kids. I'll take care of it for you. So here, fix this.
Anyway, I gotta go to bed.
All right.
All right,
See you,
guys.
Keith.
The only other thing I did want to mention on the show, Jari Sanders put a stat out there about the Yankees hitting with runners in scoring position, or rather not hitting with runners in scoring position. And I want to find the stat that he put out.
I just know A-Rod's
Oh, probably knows it.
Poe probably does know it.
I'm back.
So what are the Yankees hitting with runners in scoring position?
What?
What are the Yankees hitting with runners in scoring position?
I'm not sure right now.
I got it.
Stumped him.
I don't have it in front of me.
All right. The Yankees are 5 for 68 with runners in scoring position on their past 8 games. In that same span, Jose Bautista has 6 hits with runners in scoring position.
That is sad. I know A-Rod's having
5 for 68.
They're old, man. But
Yeah.
can I just say, I gotta say something, Sanders. I don't know if it's Jari or Yari, but he has rapidly become one of my favorite Yankee fans. Him and I used to go at it, man, but he, I don't know what happened, but I'm hoping he shows up. We're doing that draft party on, you know, I know obviously the three of you will not be able to, but locally here we are getting together for the NFL draft.
Will we still be going live?
I'm going to probably go live. I don't know if I'm going to just go live on Facebook or if we'll actually webcast, because I didn't get too much interest. I only had a couple people that said that they kind of wanted to do it. So we may try to do it from there and get some of the people that are there in on it, and hopefully some of you
I'll be
guys
there.
as
Dennis,
well.
you there, right?
Who?
Guy and Sean Dennison will both be there.
I believe
I think
they will both be there. You know, Nick is Yari said that he was actually going. I haven't met him in person. That I've invited Kurt Smith, so hopefully he will be able to go. So it should be a good time. But baseball-wise, the Yankees, they are the disaster I hope they're going to be.
I actually made a prediction before the year, and I think Peck remembers this. I said A-Rod was going to have a terrible year, and I'm right so far.
He's old, man. He's old. He can't use his juice anymore, and his body's just.
Yeah, that's on one of the webcasts actually. Armani said, "This is your bust this year, A-Rod."
I told you.
The season's still young, but you're definitely in the right direction.
Yeah.
A-Rod.
Well, it's a good. I mean, he didn't go out on a huge limb. I mean, it makes sense that he. Not to take away from Armani and his prediction, but I mean, obviously, a guy that's over 40 years old, who's a former roid user. He had a great first half of the season last year, but you saw what happened to him in the second half. He just completely fell off and was just god awful. And he has not gotten at all. I think he's just tired and he's just old, man. You reach a certain. Go ahead, Bo.
Old as goat.
Isn't he
Oh.
going to retire after this year?
Yeah,
He should.
I know.
No, David Ortiz is. I mean, Ortiz is doing way better than him right now.
Ortiz looks right now like he could play another 2 years.
I know. I like him
He's like
a lot.
Tom Brady.
Right.
Them Boston
I don't know.
Them Boston players never
They're
age.
friends. They probably sleep in the same like cryogenic chamber together that keeps them young. Whatever it is, it works.
I got ESPN on here, and they just showed Christian McCaffrey, the running back from Stanford. His yards per touch in college are 8.2, and they put it up next to Barry Sanders' stats in college, and they're like identical.
Y'all think he can make it in the NFL, or he'll play like a receiver position?
I'm not sure.
Depends on his team.
Yeah, I mean Stanford does run
Because
like a pro style, so his adjustment won't be as huge as would be from some of these guys coming from different schemes. But I don't know.
Then again, you saw what happened to Toby Gerhardt.
I was never high on him.
I love it when people compare players to Barry Sanders or some of these greats. Cracks me up, man. I mean, I remember when Harold Miner was called Baby Jordan in the NBA. Remember him? Harold Miner? No, probably not, because he sucked. But coming out of college, they thought his game was just like Michael Jordan's.
For me, those types of predictions, it depends on how you say it. Like if you're saying this is the next coming, then I hate you for bringing it up. I mean, it's dumb. He hasn't played yet. But if you're saying, well, he does this, and I don't want to be the one to say it, but the only other guy I've seen do that was Barry Sanders. Even you, Frank, when Deion Lewis was going crazy,
I compared
things early in the year.
Not to the
That's something about
greatness,
right.
but I compared him to the escapability.
And you have to really think about it. Barry Sanders.
That's what I'm saying. Like you mentioned it, I was like, oh, this guy's nuts. And then like I looked at it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see what he's talking about.
It's the way he's small, he cuts and avoid tackles, and it reminded me. It brought back why I loved Barry Sanders and watching Barry Sanders, because I remember I watched Barry's entire career. I was lucky enough to see that, and the coolest part about Thanksgiving was knowing that the Lions were going to be on TV because Barry Sanders run. And back then you couldn't. There was no NFL package, and you couldn't watch every single game. So when you got to see Barry Sanders, it was a treat. And because the Lions always played on Thanksgiving, that's what I remember, man, was like, all right, it's Thanksgiving, it's football, I get to watch Barry Sanders run. And he was special to watch, man. And, I hadn't really seen that until I saw Deion Lewis making some of the cuts and doing some of the cool things. By no means do I Barry Sanders, but just a few of the way that he ran the ball, kind of reminded me of him. So I could see that if somebody was saying that coming out of college, it kind of reminds them of. But boy, that guy had a lot of yards in very few seasons. It's tough to compare to.
And then if you really think about it, Barry Sanders is played in a different era of football than McCaffrey.
He played in a much tougher era, I would
Yeah.
say. You know, the era where they'll tackle you and then they'll friggin' poke you in the eyes in the bottom of the pile, type era. You know what I mean? Just nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what you watching Barry Sanders like me watching Tom Brady. You have to respect greatness no matter what.
Amen to that, Armani. Keep talking, buddy. Expand on that.
He's absolutely right.
Or like when you like on Thanksgiving for my generation, you're watching Calvin Johnson. That's one of the best receivers of all time. And I mean, there's not going to be another receiver like him.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I mean, you can argue Dorial Green Beckham from the Titans, but
Yeah, I think Calvin Johnson is. It felt like for a long time he was going to go down as maybe the greatest of all time, and I think health got in the way, and I think like Barry Sanders, his team got in the way, the
yeah,
Lions. I don't think Matt Stafford is. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback, but by no means did he do Calvin Johnson any favors. But I think Calvin Johnson. There will be another Calvin Johnson. I think. I don't think he's one of those wide receivers that you look at and say, "No, that's never going to happen again." And even
See,
like a Jerry Rice.
I only get that feeling for really Randy Moss, and I feel like nobody will ever be a student of the game the same way that Jerry Rice was. Physically, sure, somebody else can be Jerry Rice. I think his was more preparation, work ethic, and things like that. All your kind of cliches.
Joe Montana.
That helped, yeah.
imagine if Calvin Johnson would have.
Imagine if Calvin Johnson had Joe Montana thrown to him his whole career. We may be talking about him in a different way. And I think, I don't think you can point to one thing as to why he's not the greatest or another thing, but certainly having one of the greatest quarterbacks, to play the game in Joe Montana had helped Jerry Rice very much, whereas Calvin Johnson did not get that luxury. He had Matt Stafford, who was serviceable and decent, but certainly no Joe Montana.
Never have. No, you can't.
But I think health is really what ended up being, Calvin Johnson's undoing. And also the fact that, NFL players are smartening up and they don't want to play as long as I'm sure Calvin Johnson could have played enough, physically gifted enough. But a lot of these NFL players, because of concussions and CTE, and I think they're retiring early, and they're choosing life longevity over playing extra years of football. What happens with records and things, because we may never see a lot of these records touched because NFL careers longevity may be going down, especially at certain positions, like running back. It seems like these running backs are retiring earlier and earlier. The pounding that they take, and they're realizing now that, they better get out now while they can, like a Marshawn Lynch. I'm sure he could have played another couple of years, He chose to do something else, so it should be interesting.
You think they'll eliminate kickoff returns?
I don't know. I think it's one of the most exciting plays in football when one is run back for a touchdown, which doesn't happen that often, but neither does a no-hitter, and that's why you like watching it. So, but is it you got to weigh, is it at the expense of all these guys getting smashed in the head speed, because that's kind of what happens. And I'm sure special teams players get it worse than a lot of other players because they are on one of the
They're
most
smashed
dangerous sort of plays
by
of the
big
game.
people running at them. So
Right. And it's full speed stuff. I wouldn't want to be a kick returner, I'll tell you that much. You know, you don't see a guy coming and blah, splat.
Splat.
So
That's about all I really got for the show. I mean, not I came in here with any type of game plan anyway, but
that's all right. I'm getting hungry.
eat enchiladas.
Who wants to go grab a bite to eat?
Posky wants some Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
Didn't
I
they
eat
have
some
like
Jimmy
$1
John's.
subs?
They're decent. I mean, you can find a better sub than Jimmy John's. That's for damn sure.
You gotta go to Wawa, man. You know about Wawa now, right, Frank?
I do, but you know what? I have a confession, sports confessions. I've actually never actually eaten a sub at Wawa, even though I've heard how wonderful they are. I may go and do that tomorrow, just so I can say that I've done it. Guy is very proud of his Wawa subs.
Publix.
You gotta wait till Hoagie Fest. Get one during Hoagie Fest. Save yourself a couple cents, and you get to call it a hoagie. So.
What can I expect at Hoagie Fest?
Basically your same sub, but it's cheaper.
Oh,
around Thanksgiving, they have something called a gobbler that you have to get. It's
it's like a turkey sandwich.
stuffing, all kinds of stuff, all over. Oh my god, I wish it was Thanksgiving. I mean,
My mouth is watering right now just thinking about that.
it's delicious.
I'm gonna go eat whatever my wife left for me in the refrigerator.
Yeah, I'm gonna go dig through the fridge as well. So, all right, we're going to eat sports talk. So, if you made it this far, again, thank you. We appreciate it. Hopefully, going forward, these we can do a lot more with them. I'd still like to get some guests on here.
You get Evo.
Join us today, but I don't know what happened. But yeah, send us emails, leave comments, send me a message, if you send Frank a message, he'll bring it over to me. But get in touch with us. We'd love to have you on.
All right. Bye, guys.
We Sports Talk Live. Checking out.
Peace.